Sir Marrock, a lesser-known knight of King Arthur's Round Table, stands as one of medieval literature's earliest and most intriguing examples of a noble werewolf. His tale, though not as widely celebrated as those of Lancelot or Gawain, provides a fascinating glimpse into how medieval society viewed the intersection of humanity, nobility, and supernatural transformation. The story of Sir Marrock uniquely combines the chivalric ideals of Arthurian legend with the darker elements of lycanthropic folklore. King Arthur's court at Camelot represented the pinnacle of medieval chivalric society, where noble knights gathered at the famous Round Table to serve their king and uphold the ideals of justice, honor, and courtesy. The Round Table itself was more than mere furniture. It served as a symbol of equality among the knights, as its circular shape ensured no knight could claim precedence over another. In this illustrious company, Arthur fostered a brotherhood of warriors who would become legendary figures in both history and literature. Sir Marrock's story begins with his wife's betrayal, as she secretly used magic to transform him into a wolf during the day, while allowing him to retain his human form at night. This transformation was not the result of a curse or divine punishment, but rather the malicious act of his spouse who wished to be rid of him. Unlike many werewolf tales of the time, which portrayed the transformed as savage beasts, Marrock retained his human intelligence and noble character even in wolf form, demonstrating that true nobility transcends physical appearance. In many versions of the tale, he roams the wilderness, avoiding harm and sometimes helping humans in need, demonstrating his inherent goodness even in wolf form. The resolution of Marrock's predicament came through the intervention of a wise woman who revealed his wife's treachery to King Arthur. Upon learning the truth, Arthur had the wife arrested and forced her to reverse the transformation, restoring Marrock to his human form permanently. This tale stands apart from typical werewolf stories of the medieval period, as it portrays the werewolf as a sympathetic figure and victim rather than a monster, while the true villain is found in human form. Sir Marrock's story serves as a compelling illustration of the chivalric code, demonstrating how true nobility persists even under the most challenging circumstances. Through his ordeal, Marrock embodied the core virtues that defined medieval knighthood, making his tale both a werewolf narrative and a testament to chivalric ideals. Despite his transformation, Marrock maintained his loyalty to King Arthur and the Round Table, demonstrating the chivalric virtue of fealty even when physically separated from the court. His continued service and noble behavior while in wolf form highlighted the medieval belief that true nobility emanated from character rather than mere appearance or social position. This adherence to his knightly values, even when stripped of his human form, exemplifies the ideal that chivalry runs deeper than surface presentation. The virtue of patience, a key component of the chivalric code, is particularly evident in Marrock's story. Rather than seeking immediate revenge against his treacherous wife, he endured his transformation with dignity and restraint. This self-control, especially while possessing the physical power of a wolf, demonstrates the medieval ideal of measured response and judicial temperance that knights were expected to display. In terms of courtesy and gentility, Marrock's ability to maintain his civilized nature while in wolf form presents a striking contrast to typical werewolf tales of the period. His behavior reflected the courtly ideals of self-restraint and proper conduct, even under extraordinary circumstances. This aspect of the story reinforces the chivalric principle that a true knight's nobility should manifest in all situations, regardless of external conditions. The respect for women, another cornerstone of chivalry, receives a complex treatment in Marrock's tale. While his wife's betrayal might seem to reinforce medieval anxieties about female faithlessness, Marrock's dignified response and his acceptance of proper judicial process rather than personal vengeance upholds the chivalric ideal of protecting the social order. The resolution through legal means rather than violence demonstrates the supremacy of justice over revenge in the chivalric code. King Arthur himself administers justice in the conclusion of Marrock's story, exemplifying the chivalric ideal of righteous governance. The restoration of Marrock's human form through legal and moral means, rather than through violence or counter-sorcery, reinforces the medieval belief in the power of legitimate authority and proper procedure, central tenets of the chivalric worldview. Medieval beliefs about lycanthropy were complex and often contradictory, making Sir Marrock's tale particularly interesting as a reflection of period attitudes toward human wolf transformation. The medieval mind grappled with both religious and secular explanations for lycanthropy, creating a rich context in which this Arthurian tale operated. During the medieval period, werewolves were typically viewed as either victims of demonic possession, practitioners of dark magic, or sufferers of divine punishment. However, Sir Marrock's story presents a departure from these common interpretations by positioning him as an innocent victim of malicious sorcery. This narrative choice reflects a growing medieval understanding that supernatural transformations could occur through external agency rather than moral failing, representing a more nuanced view of lycanthropy than early medieval sources typically provided. The medieval church's position on werewolves was particularly relevant to how such tales were received. While the church officially maintained that physical transformation from human to wolf was impossible, viewing such claims as either delusion or demonic deception, popular belief often accepted the possibility of such transformations. Sir Marrock's tale navigates this tension by presenting his lycanthropy as the result of magic rather than demonic influence, thereby avoiding direct conflict with religious doctrine while still appealing to popular beliefs in transformation. The retention of human consciousness during transformation was a significant element in medieval werewolf narratives, though accounts varied widely. Some tales depicted werewolves as mindless beasts, while others, like Marrock's story, maintained the transformed individual's human intelligence and moral character. This variation reflected medieval debates about the relationship between body and soul, and whether physical transformation necessarily implied spiritual corruption. Medieval medical texts sometimes attempted to explain lycanthropy as a form of melancholic madness, where individuals believed themselves transformed into wolves. Sir Marrock's story stands in contrast to this medical view by presenting his transformation as objectively real rather than psychological. This approach aligns more closely with folkloric traditions than with learned medical discourse, suggesting the tale's roots in popular rather than scholarly culture. The role of women in medieval werewolf narratives often reflected period anxieties about female power and sexuality. Marrock's wife's use of magic to transform him fits into a broader pattern of medieval stories, where women employ supernatural means to subvert male authority. However, the story's resolution through legitimate authority, rather than violence, presents a more measured response to female transgression than many contemporary narratives. The social implications of lycanthropy in medieval society were profound, with suspected werewolves often facing exclusion or persecution. Sir Marrock's tale offers a counter-narrative where the transformed individual retains social connection through his essential nobility, suggesting that true character transcends physical form. This element of the story reflects evolving medieval attitudes toward the relationship between appearance and identity, particularly within the context of courtly society. Sir Marrock's tale has influenced popular culture's treatment of werewolves, contributing to the evolution of the noble werewolf archetype that appears in modern fiction. His story helped establish the concept that someone transformed into a wolf could retain their human consciousness and moral character, a theme that resonates through contemporary werewolf narratives in literature, film, and television. From the werewolves of Harry Potter to the complex lycanthropes of urban fantasy, Sir Marrock's influence can be seen in stories that explore the humanity within the beast. The enduring significance of Sir Marrock's tale lies in its exploration of identity, loyalty, and the nature of humanity itself. His story demonstrates that true nobility comes from within and cannot be altered by external transformations, whether magical or mundane. In an era where appearances and social status held tremendous importance, the tale of a noble knight who remained honorable despite his bestial form provided a powerful message about the true nature of virtue and the importance of looking beyond surface appearances to find the truth within.